Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Summer camp bully gets cancelled. This happened at a Christian summer camp 40 plus years ago. I went every summer. Not because I liked all the Bible classes, but just to get out of town for a few weeks a year. And they had swimming, horseback riding, canoeing, etc. This incident was from a summer when I was around 11 or 12. There was a mean kid who bullied me every summer. He was sadistic, mean as hell, and especially targeted me. I complained to the camp staff and was told something along the lines of Jesus, turn the other cheek, forgiveness and blah blah blah. Nothing was done. You could take various courses and one was a canoe class. That culminated in an overnight canoe and camping trip. Of course, Bully Boy was going. We canoed and camped out by a river away from the summer camp. The kids were all swimming in the river and Bully Boy kept dunking me under the water and holding me down. I'd come up gasping for air and go down again, over and over. He had left me up and I got in my press when he pushed me under again. This time, I got away from him, held my press, and swam underwater down the river as far as I could. When I came up, I saw him and some of the other kids looking frantically for me. I took another big breath, submerged and swam even further downstream and out of sight. I climbed up on the bank and waited. And here is what I was told by other campers later, as I didn't witness this part. After looking for me and not finding me, the kids started to panic and got a counselor. How a bunch of kids were left unattended long enough for this to happen, I still don't know. Bully Boy told the counselor that we'd been all swimming and I'd disappeared. The other kids ratted him out, said that he'd drowned me, and full-on panic ensued. Staff from the main campground were called and search party began, while Bully Boy cried thinking he'd kill me. I am not sure how long the search lasted, but it must have seemed like forever until I was found down the river on the bank. I played it up big time, acting all upset and shivering. I told the counselor that Bully Boy had held me underwater and I couldn't breathe. And the next thing I knew, I was on the side of the river and had thrown up a bunch of river water and did not know where I was. Back at the main camp, all the management had assembled for a meeting. Bully Boy approached me and tried to apologize, and I acted all freaked out and hid behind an adult. His parents were called and he was sent home and banned from ever attending a camp. My parents were called and camp leader must have freaked out when my mom answered law offices as she was my attorney's father's secretary. I talked to my parents and said that I wanted to stay at the camp, and they were fine with it. No lawsuit. My parents weren't litigious. The rest of the summer went great without Bully Boy there to harass me. I attended for a few more years until I stopped. Time had come to part ways. I hadn't thought of this much since then, and I wish I'd asked my parents about it. My mom has passed and my dad has dementia, so I won't get their take on the situation. Note: my parents weren't religious. I went to the camp because my favorite cousin went and I wanted to go. I wonder if the Bully Boy ended up in prison. That sadistic little sociopath. Next story. Student steals parking sticker, gets expelled. I live in Iowa. My father is a professor at the University of Northern Iowa. We have a parking system at the university and it has A stickers for professors, staff and graduate assistants. Well, technically we have a G sticker as well, but it's kind of useless and only given out in a lottery system. Below A is B and C. Each parking lot has a huge sign that tells you who can park here. My dad, the absent-minded professor, often forgot to lock his car, and one day he called me to ask if I had borrowed it. I told him no, and he started to freak out. Background about me. I went to college for security and private investigations but was working at the time as loss prevention. I only lived a few blocks away from his office and knew he would be raging and going a little off the wall at the indignity of having his sticker stolen. When I got to the building, I went up the 6th floor and to his office. He was busy calling other professors, asking them if they saw anything. I asked if he called campus police and he said no. Face palm moment. I told him that's where we needed to start because they have the tag number, and as classes do not get out for another hour, we should have time to check all the A parking lots. He looks at me and says, "How do you know this?" I say, "Dad, this is what I do for a living. People steal things and I track them down. I'm especially good at catching employees." We made our way to public safety and explained what happened. They said they didn't have the time to track it down and I said no worries, that's what I'm here for. We went back to the parking lot with the tag number and started walking down the rows looking at all the tags hanging from the rear view mirrors. I found the car 4 rows over and 3 slots west. That called campus police and an awesome officer arrived and matched the tag to my dad, not his car. The class was due to get out in about 5 minutes and we elected to wait for the thief and confront him. My dad is the epitome of you're only worse the deeds you do and takes everything very personally and is the kind of professor you either love or absolutely hate. We wait for quite some time making some jokes and watching the students exit the building into the parking lot. I spot the thief first as he's walking to the parking lot, earbuds in, nose deep in his phone, when he glances up and sees us standing around his car. He stops mid-step and does an about face. I point him out to the officer and the officer yells for the student to stop and talk. The student stops and turns around. The officer asked if this was his car, and the student pauses, shrugs and says yes. And the officer asks him if he knew the tag was stolen, and he of course said no. The officer asks where he got it and what year he was, and the student claims he's a sophomore, and he bought it at the campus parking office. And the officer says nope. Impossible, because you don't qualify for that tag. Where did you get it? He said he bought it from a friend this morning, and the officer asked who the friend was and the student refused to answer. The officer says that he's heard enough and that he needs to give the tag to my dad and apologize. He does so and thinks he's free to go. So, nope. Absolutely not. The officer then proceeds to write tickets. Illegally parking, improper use of a parking tag, possession of a stolen tag. And the kid's face is going from white to green at this point. He asks if he can leave and the officer says no. The officer has a car towed away at the student's expense. I ask the officer how much that all adds up to and he says, after the towing violations and the impounding probably over $2,000. And my dad only asks one question. What was that kid's name? And the officer tells him. We all shake hands and go our separate ways. Dad and I go grab lunch and I can tell he's not letting this go. I ask him what he's going to do, and he tells me he's going to send an email with the information to the other professors on campus, the dean of students, and overall just blast this kid off campus. I say remind me never to steal from you. He reminds me that I had grown up several times and it never worked out for me either. We left. A few weeks go by and I ask Dad for an update. He tells me that the student was expelled 3 days after the incident, and that I did a great job spotting and tracking down the student and the tag. I might not be a rocket scientist or teacher, but tracking people is what I do. That's it. Good times. Dad, if you read this, as I know you're a Reddit addict, we should grab lunch when campus opens up again. Next story. Entitled Customers Want Chicken Loaf for $2. This is a 20-year-old story, but hey. In those days, I worked in an establishment that offered ready-to-eat main course meats. Think a whole ham or turkey. The absurdly busy times were always Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and the customer line would be literally out of the door. We would need to hire seasonal staff to keep up, and so on. I was in charge of training the seasonal staff, and as they were only there for 2 week stops, mistakes squeaked by sometimes. During one of these mad rushes, I was working a register. It is stressful as hell. Too many work hours and I almost always got sick with a flu right after. Anyway, two customers come up to the register. They want this sliced chicken breast we offer that's more like a loaf, but we call it a breast. It is $20. I grab one from the fridge and realize when I place it on the counter that it's accidentally been priced at $2. Oh, sorry, that's not right. The price is $20. No, you're wrong. It says $2 right there. One of them says, no, that's actually an error. No, it's $2. That's what it says. I sigh hard and almost roll my eyes. Give me your manager. So I call my manager who confirms yes, it was priced wrong, and takes it away to price it correctly. By the way, there is no way on any planet that this thing would cost $2. It was big enough to feed like 6 people. After the manager leaves, the other customer says, "Customer is always right." Oh, not this time. I was younger, had a bit of an attitude, and could have handled this better, admittedly. If we were white, you wouldn't treat us like this. I look white myself, but they were not. I just kind of eye-rolled my eyes at them and cashed them out and went ahead with my business. About an hour later, I get called into the manager's office. Hey, we got a call from someone claiming you called him the N-word. And I flipped out. I explained the whole situation with her, and luckily the cashier next to me witnessed the whole thing. I said that while I did have an attitude, I did not use any racist terminology. That same cashier bought me a shirt for Christmas that said, "Well, go off if agitated," or something like that on it. I miss my coworkers, but do not miss that place one bit. Next story. I'm the captain now. I work as part of a skeleton crew in a hotel. This means that on any given night I'm everything from waiter to handyman to the laundry service. Technically I'm mainly laundry. Because of the current global situation, things have been a bit slow, but we do still get customers. This particular night we are especially slow, which I'm not complaining about because it gives me the chance to chill while waiting for the laundry to be done. I get a call on the radio to bring towels to a room, which is a pretty common request. I don't think much of it. I take fresh towels from the laundry racks, go to the customer's room, and let them know housekeeping has come with towels. Enter the Karen. These cows do not look very clean. Ma'am, I can assure you they are. I just took them from the laundry room myself. Not good enough. Well, I can get you different towels if you would like. She sort of sneered, but let me go get them. And this time I went to the linen closet on the floor. Still fresh new towels, which most people are happy with. But not her. No, she wants fresh towels from the dryer, and she still wants them warm. This lady is on the 3rd floor. The laundry is in the basement. It is unlikely to get them still warm, even if the towels hadn't literally only just gone into the dryer and were sopping wet. If she wanted them that fresh, it would be an hour at least. Not good enough. She wants them now like I'm hiding them in my back pocket, and I'm just refusing to give her the good stuff. And now is when she says the line, "I want to speak to your manager. The front desk is available on call if you would like." No, your manager. Me too. For those of you at home, my manager had quit in September and I never got a new one. So the front desk was the closest she was going to get to my manager. Karen did not like this answer and sent me away. Let her know that she would receive her new towels as soon as the dryer was finished with them and walked away. I gave the front desk a heads up that they might encounter Karen and merely went on my way back to the laundry room. About 5 minutes later, I hear someone in the laundry room. I'm the only person on shift that will go anywhere near the laundry, so I went to go see what was going on. There was a maskless Karen trying to sneak into the employee-only area. I shut the door in her face, told her to please put a mask on and stay out of the restricted area. I called the front desk and let them know that Karen is trying to be sneaky and go back to the laundry. 10 minutes after that, the laundry room door opened on the emergency fire escape staircase entrance, and Karen had gone around the whole hotel and found the one door to this staircase whose lock had broken. I thought she'd be sneaky again to get that mysterious towel Nirvana. This lady sees me and decides now is the perfect moment to complain to me about the dirty laundry in our dirty laundry room area. I just so happened to be talking to the front desk about a different customer and got the go-ahead for what happened next on the spot. Like I said before, I have many jobs on this skeleton crew. One of them is security. So I get the great pleasure to inform Karen that she is no longer considered a guest in our hotel and has 10 minutes to go get her crab and get out. You're not the security, you said you're housekeeping. I, who have been reading way too much Reddit, replied, look at me, I'm the security now. We can get your stuff and leave nicely, or you get to take a nice ride with the police who are stationed down the road. It gave me so much pleasure to wave cheerily from the lobby as this lady drove away. And yes, without her towels, which had just finished drying. Crazy. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.